think this is good because normally states, and I think are considered less, like you mentioned, less agile. But nonetheless, the fact that the State Institute now goes ahead in the partnership, in a way, confirms that our tech sector is agile overall, and our ecosystem is agile. But speaking of this very important academy, I mean, you're globally famous, and of course, you work on different continents. You see different best practices, but sometimes you adjust also to the environments, right? You localize a little bit. What would be the fast-forward recipe for success? How would this academy look like? What would be the recipe?
So the approach we're taking, which we hope is the fast-forward for success, we have the right set of stakeholders here, the parts of the government, investigative organizations, supervisory organizations, innovation-focused technology development organizations, to be on the platform, trained. They're stakeholders and exchanging information in both directions as we build tools out. So that helps everyone solve real problems. Right? This is not a situation where we're training on theoretical problems and designing solutions to things that no one really has. All of the stakeholders in this process have real issues today that can be addressed using these tools, training people up, giving them better systems to work with things. And then in turn, you mentioned that we work across geographies. You get a lot of information working with different people and listening to your users, listening to the stakeholders in a project. So we'll get excellent feedback on how the training proceeds, what is practical in some ways, what's more and less useful, what we need to build, what competences various participants in this process need to build so that we can all move together better. It's been wonderful being here, speaking to people from different parts of the regulatory apparatus, law enforcement, intelligence, whatever, a variety of things, to learn how people use tools today, what they need, what they'd like to learn, and what they think more of their colleagues need to be trained on. In some cases, you have competence in an area, but not a small number of people. And maybe those people can become the experts, and we can get a larger group of people who have a sort of better day-to-day competence in
So
these
would, for example, a train the trainer option would be something for the future?
Yeah, so this is something that we've started to work on now in order to make this a scalable platform that can train a wide variety of people across sectors of the government, perhaps other parts of the world, private entities.
So people can join in. Let's say, for example, my mom.
Well,
okay, or my team, they want to join in. I mean, they could pay a fee, right? Or do something.
Your mother's probably several steps of training the trainers away. But the idea that we're starting by getting a group of people here up to speed so that they are capable of training other people, and we can sort of expand this out. I mean, you get the one person trains two, trains four, trains eight type effect. Whether that trickles all the way down to the retail end user in need of the system, frankly, is going to depend on what Romania's technology and finance sectors deliver with these products. And if it becomes something that the end user touches in day-to-day life, then yes, I don't know that she's going to be going to intensive sessions, but there will be something, I would imagine, eventually made available to people to understand this. At a minimum, if there's going to be reasonable oversight, you're going to have a way of people recognizing this is approved by this organization. You think of the way deposit insurance works around the world. Your mother's familiar with the symbol, the name, the concept of this is a bank versus this is another kind of a thing. So we're going to build out infrastructure like that over time. You train people in more end-user-facing concepts. That's really all about getting feedback from the stakeholders in the process as to what it is that they need sort of to go to the next level, So
speaking of the next level, I think that in the past few years, for those of us who are not, let's say, not necessarily passionate for the field of technology in a wide sphere, but the level of innovation which is happening across the wider tech sphere. Sometimes we tend to combine things. So you mentioned, for example, tech and finance. But I think, for example, one of the things for finance and the medical sector in Romania is that we realize that, hey, look, cybersecurity is an issue. Like I think companies in the US and other places realize that an energy sector level or others, that we can be hacked. Is there any connection, to put it in very simple words, in between cybersecurity fears and blockchain intelligence and how the two can connect?
Okay, so first, there are well-known connections between cybersecurity problems and the use of some types of crypto assets, right? So that is an area that I think law enforcement and regulators in general have been aware of for the longest, because those are perhaps the loudest headlines in parts of the world. So again, there are people who have competence, narrow slice, able to deal with certain types of issues. As these products, as the technology develops and become more widely used, you're going to need more ability to deal with those things. So training people up and expanding competence in those directions is going to be very important. Exactly what products come up depends on what the market develops. Example that was given earlier, an NFT marketplace is a type of crypto asset. You're transferring value, whatever these NFTs are in the marketplace, but it's not traditional financial system type work. Right? So this is a situation where an existing product that's there can use more surveillance, more education among the various people who operate around the periphery of that marketplace, understanding how to track things, how to do economic analysis on things, how end users can understand security. If generally cybersecurity problems involve someone not understanding security very well and making a mistake, right? So training everyone up at every level on how a lot of these things work helps to improve security in general. And that's a theme going back thousands of years, right, in how security operates. And this is just continuing to leverage that known to work. You have to go do the work to implement it, but strategy of expanding out how much people know, building out training, exposure, and just building better procedures, better policies, educating all of the relevant parts of the public and private apparatus that touch these things.
I wanted to first into the risk angle, but now I'm turning back towards you, Victor, on the opportunity. Could we say that in terms of blockchain intelligence and blockchain project, the NFT project, for example, was the element of opportunity? Is there anything else which, from a technological perspective, we should be putting on the opportunity side?
Yes, because we know. Starting with end of this year, we applied MiCA. MiCA is a European directive, give a new regulatory for crypto asset. And we already discussed to use blockchain, not just in NFT market, and was a collectible NFT or digital art or something like it. But we go away with NFT to utility NFT. Now we have some project using NFT in medicine, because you tell about medicine. You can create an NFT with medical personal data with a guy, because blockchain is a technology and it gives a traceability and validity for information. You can use part of blockchain like a cybersecurity technology, because give this like a chain, and you can use this chain to have the validity of information. And it's first step too.
So we could say that blockchain, in a way, if I were to chat with my colleagues who are interested in our pod, is in a way safe by design, right?
I wouldn't say the product is necessarily safe by design. You need to do work in how you run the surveillance, how you connect other parts of the world to these systems. I mean, that's what a lot of this is about. If you have a set of computer software that does what the program is supposed to do, for a game, that's fine. It doesn't touch the outside world. For a word processor, that's fine. For things that interact with the financial system, medical system,
smart contracts,
smart contracts that do more complicated stuff. Right? You're going to need better apparatus to sort of operate around that, to keep track of how things work. Some things will be illegal. Some things will be fine. Some things will be, relative merits. Your mother, not to pick on her too much, but is not.
No, she likes it. She's conversational.
she won't be able to evaluate those things, right? So it's important that the people whose job it is to make sure these things are done right know how these things function, and that we have procedures in place consistent. I mean, Micah is a great example of a broad set of directives that apply to a large area that different people are going to work out different ways of managing. That's the way regulatory government processes operate. That's fine. It takes time to develop these things. And to the extent the technology is new, figuring out how to map a piece of software that works onto a large, complicated real-world system that needs to be safe for end users, it's challenging. I think maybe the only non-controversial statement you can make about existing use of crypto assets is that sometimes that goes well and sometimes that goes poorly.